Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening everyone and thanks for joining us. The future of hundreds of Tasmanian jobs are on a knife edge tonight as a major manufacturer teeters on the brink of closure. Liberty Bell Bay cutting back on operations, and there are growing fears the 63-year-old Smelter could go dark within weeks.
Formerly known as Temco, and it was saved from the brink of collapse in 2020, the Liberty Manganese smelter at Bell Bay and its more than 250 full-time employees are once again facing an uncertain future.
Naturally, we're very concerned for the local community or the employees.
There's a lot of anxiety. There are a lot of young workers with young families. It is a very confronting situation.
The company scaling back to what it's calling limited operations, citing a lack of access to ore. Although the reason for that is widely believed to be financial, also struggling to access credit.
All we know is that we've run out of ore to process and there is no shipment of ore on the way at this point. 3 of the facility's 4 furnaces have now been shut down. 7 Tasmania understands the 4th will be taken offline at the end of the month. Workers are told it's a temporary measure, but follows the forced administration of its sister site in Whyalla in February.
This is a business which is in significant financial strife. Its parent company's in a lot of trouble.
The company has promised no forced redundancies, but workers will be forced onto annual leave, although some will be required to stay on for what's known as care and maintenance.
We'll put all the resources we possibly can in terms of supporting the employees. We've engaged Jobs Tasmania, of course.
The Premier has written to the federal government for assistance. Nick Kelly, 7 Tasmania News.
Privatising Aurora Energy would become a harder sell under proposed legislation being put out for public consultation by Labor. The opposition claims power prices will likely worsen if the government decides to palm it off, but with the exception of hydro, the Premier still isn't ruling any GBL sell-offs in or out.
The cost of keeping the lights on is a price many Tasmanians are struggling to keep up with.
Been having a lot of trouble with bills, ballots and budget and everything else, so I decided to give up meat because that was a major cost.
As her hefty power bills mount up and with the winter cold just around the corner, aged pensioner Anne Cox fears heating will become a luxury she won't be able to afford.
I have a heat pump. I do not switch it on. I've got a little strip heater up on the wall. I stay in the kitchen because it's a smaller area to warm up.
Labor today releasing draft legislation for public consultation, requiring any plans to sell Aurora Energy to pass both houses of Parliament, overturning the party's reforms in 2012 when they considered privatising it under former Premier Lara Giddings.
When government businesses are privatised, that prices go up, jobs go offshore, and the dividends that help pay for schools and hospitals disappear.
It comes as the government continues to weigh up whether to palm any of them off to try and mend its ailing finances.
We've been very upfront and honest with the Tasmanian community. We want our government business enterprises to deliver better services.
While residents like Anne hope there's light at the end of the tunnel for the cost of living soon.
Well, as soon as possible, really.
Anthony Dodd, 7 Tasmania News.
It's unclear how much Tasmanian taxpayers will have to fork out for infrastructure to support the Tassie Devils High Performance Centre after a $45 million budget blowout for the facility. The opposition demanding the government be upfront about the rest of the expenses, including relocating local sports club facilities and a new link road.
They had one opportunity just to tell the truth, and they chose to hide the truth. Tasmanians just want to know how much this is going to cost.
We're working through that now with the council and the clubs themselves, and we will be open and transparent.
The government insists the centre is on track for practical completion by October 2027, less than 6 months before the Devils are due to take the field in the AFL. A witness has told a coronial inquest into the 2022 death of a 65-year-old truck driver. The vehicle was travelling at an excessive speed and appeared to have lost control when it rolled over. David McIntosh was killed in the incident on Semmons Road near St Mary's. Another witness says the truck was mechanically fine at the time of the crash. The hearing is set to run for 2 days. More services are available at the Mury Hospital now. $45 million overhaul is complete. It includes a new elective day surgery centre as well as audiology and physiotherapy.
Because we now have a new elective day surgery centre up here, which will be doing endoscopies, more Tasmanians will be able to come off the wait list, but more importantly, it'll be providing services for the northwest region.
Meanwhile, the government's ramping ban is meeting its target with 85% of ambulances back on the road within an hour, but Tasmanian nurses say there's more than meets the eye.
Now patients are not ramping in ambulances, they are ramping in corridors in the emergency departments, often without monitors and without adequate nursing staff.
There are 4 recommendations in the report, and of course we'll be working through those carefully alongside the unions.
Last month, ambulances spent an average of 36 minutes ramped. As volunteers are being celebrated across the country, attention is on the dedicated team behind Lifeline's crisis support. With suicide rates remaining alarmingly high, the vital work of these trained individuals is now more important than ever.
After more than 20 years in the plumbing industry, Rob felt a calling. He wanted to give back in a more meaningful way.
Unfortunately, as many of us do, have a little bit of lived experience with suicide. And I found the 13-11-14 program and I'm very fortunate to have done so.
He was inspired to become a Lifeline crisis support volunteer in his spare time, offering hope and a listening ear to those in their darkest moments.
It's about letting people know that there are others there that care about them.
He now joins Tim at Lifeline's crisis call centre, who has been volunteering for over a decade. One call still stays with him.
There was one call from a woman who may have been a Lifeline supporter herself, but the line she used that got me was, "You do not know the good you do."
I think Lifeline, without us volunteers, wouldn't be able to deliver its services.
Rob, Tim and their fellow volunteers were honoured this morning with a special morning tea for National Volunteer Week.
This is a national event and it's an amazing opportunity to say thank you to people who give so generously.
In Tasmania, nearly 70% of the population volunteers in some way. That's more than 300,000 people dedicating their time and energy into helping others.
Just helping people out sometimes when they don't know where to go or what to do, it's very rewarding in itself.
Tim and Rob proving that simply listening can be life-changing.
It's really beautiful. It's immensely rewarding to be a part of for yourself and to hopefully make a difference for others.
And their selfless work isn't going unnoticed. Lily Thompson, 7 Tasmania News.
Well, from having a latte with a lawyer to touring Tasmania's courthouses, Law Week is underway in the state, encouraging members of the public to learn about our legal system. There's a range of free events, including advice clinics with professionals and sentencing workshops where participants can role play as a judge. But a reminder, if you do want to take part, don't get your hopes up, you won't get to wear the bench wig. From building bridges to testing turbines, some of the state's brightest young minds have been put to the test in an innovative STEM challenge. The competition encouraging the junior geniuses to take up jobs in the science and engineering industries.
The final round of the Science and Engineering Challenge bringing hundreds of high schoolers into Hobart.
It's something we look forward to doing, and I think we've both been we practiced a lot for this, so yeah, it's something we definitely both enjoy doing.
Giving up their free time to sharpen their skills.
Yeah, a lot of lunch times down in STEM rooms and things.
The main event, the Bridge Buster. Built of balsa wood and stuck together with tape, students from Riverside High designed the toughest bridge. It held up 4.5 kilos. There was a lot on the line, but Launceston Christian School took away the win. They'll get to go to Newcastle in October to represent Tasmania in the national finals.
We're super pumped for Newcastle. It's going to be a really cool school trip.
Now let's hope they don't crack under the pressure. Billy Gibbons, 7 Tasmania News.
Devonport's coach is hoping to use Saturday's representative round match against the NTFA to settle his players, following a dominant 132-point win against Ulverston on the weekend in the NWFL, reminding them it's only round 6.
We just got to focus on our next opponent, which is a couple of weeks away, and enjoy the week off for those who get it.
While Launceston's McKenna Hillier says there are many positives to take away from the Blues match against Deloraine, which ended in a draw. Well, he's conquered Sheffield Shield, but now Jake Weatherald has his sights set on Hurricanes glory. The left-handed batter signing with the Purple Army for 2 seasons, with high hopes of chasing another Big Bash title. The Tasmanian Tiger says he's excited at the prospect of playing with people he admires and is happy to slot into the lineup wherever needed.
The power throughout the middle order is just amazing. So I'm just super excited just to, just ride the coattails of those guys and hopefully hit a few over the fence myself.
Weatherald joins fellow Hurricanes batter Mitch Owen as the only 2 players to hit a century in a Big Bash final. And with Bo Webster also in the mix, the lineup's looking pretty good, Kim.
It is a good signing. Thanks, Lily. Well, Kaya Wicks will join us after the break with the weather forecast.
Good evening. Hobart and Launceston recorded 16 today, 15 in Devonport and 14 in Burnie. Friendly Beaches and Mury Island saw the state's top of 17. It was 16 in St Helens and Grove, Low Head and Ooze both 15, 14 across the Bass Strait Islands and also at Smithton. Storm 13 and 9 in Lyweni. Cloudy conditions were seen about the western half of Tasmania today, extending across Bass Strait and the far south. Low clouds sat over parts of the island, while a frontal band is approaching from the southwest. Tomorrow, the high pressure system is expected to move over the Tasman Sea, extending a ridge over the southeast of the country. North-northwesterly winds increasing up to 30 knots about the west and south throughout the day, southwesterly swells peaking to 3 metres in the south. We have a strong wind warning for coastal waters tomorrow between the southeast Cape to Sandy Cape. And those frosts aren't going anywhere either, with a warning that extends to the central north, Midlands, east coast and upper Derwent Valley. A fine and sunny day in Hobart tomorrow, 16. Fine 2 at Adventure Bay with 16 also, 13 and partly cloudy after a morning frost in Tarraleah. A cloudy 1 for the north, 16 the top in Launceston, Devonport 15 and 17 in Bridport. Partly cloudy towards the west, Burnie and Strawn 15 and 16 in Marrawall. Some cloudy skies in St Helens and White Mark 17, sunny in Swansea 17 is expected there too. Plenty more frost for the remainder of the week with some patchy fog also. Showers are likely to develop about the west and northwest on Wednesday, extending to the north in the afternoon. Light showers about the west on Thursday, but fine elsewhere. And on Friday, fine until light showers develop about the north throughout the day, extending later to the east. To mainland conditions now for Tuesday. Fine in Perth, Adelaide, Melbourne and Broome tomorrow, 24 and possible showers in Brisbane. Another clear evening this evening, Hobart 12 degrees, it's 8 in Launceston and 9 in Devonport. And with another icy start tomorrow, Kim, it's a timely reminder for us all to drive to the conditions.
It is that good advice. That is all your news for now. Thanks for joining us this Monday. Good night.